So we're going to talk about Google Slide animations, and animations can be really great. Sometimes you can make it seem like you have an animation within your slide by just duplicating a slide. So for an example, this is an old slide that I made before talking about Java variables when I used to teach Java to students, which is a programming language. So you can see what I did for this is watch what's going to happen as I arrow through the slides. Watch this bar and watch what happens over here. So if I arrow through, if I was presenting it, so the counter has that box around it, and then that box drops down to the next line, because code, how it works is it goes one line at a time. It goes down in order. So I'm filling in the different counters. I'm showing what happens behind the scenes and how the code goes through each step of the way. And so it has the idea of being an animation, but it's not really. It's just a bunch of slides where I'm just slowly moving everything. And so that worked out well for this because there is so much going on. But sometimes I don't want to do that. So for example, an earlier video was talking about the calendar, how you could add notifications in. And one of the notifications that I love down in the other notifications is this daily agenda. And it sends me an agenda in the morning, every weekday. It is a glorious thing. And I want people to know about it and to learn how to use it. So when I click here, this is what I would click on my agenda. I don't really want to make a video that goes into my Gmail because goodness only knows what the heck is going to happen in my Gmail. So this takes into account a lot of the layering that we've used. It takes into account learning about how to make the adjustments in Calendar. So what I've done here is I've just done a shape that is just white. And I have the calendar here. So the idea is I don't want to go out into Gmail, but I want my calendar to come through on the top, and I want this white to sort of block the rest of the slide. So I need to move this white. I ended up obviously putting that on last, and you know that because I can't see anything else. So I'm going to right click on it. I'm going to go to order, and I'm going to send it backwards because I just want it to go back once. So this white piece is covering now this slide, and on top of it I just put what it looks like when I get the agenda. So it's really helpful because it says exactly, the time, and it gives each of the events. So anytime there's a timed event, it puts a little bit of a darker color here, and then when there's a space in between, then there's nothing there, and then you can see all the other timed events that I have. And then you can see there's blank spaces because I actually have a later appointment that I just don't have on there. And all of these just happen to be with my personal calendar because, again, I can incorporate other calendars. So how do I make it appear that way? So if I was going to show this slide and if I was going to do a presentation, how would I make that work? Well, it's animation. So the first thing I have to do is I can't be clicked on any of the objects in the slide. So I had to click away, and so now nothing is selected. And when nothing is selected, now I have the option of a transition. And the transitions are sort of where kids, when they first learn how to do slides, they go crazy, and they have them doing all these flipping and all these crazy things, and that's super distracting. So I usually don't even have transitions. It just moves easily from one slide to the next every time I click. So I don't even use transitions. But for animations, which I'm going to use here, I can click on that. I can't click on anything until I select an object, and so it gives me that information here. So I know I definitely want to animate a couple of things. So first, I need to get that white thing to appear. So I'm going to click Add Animation, and I clicked on the larger white background. And I don't want it to fade in. I just want it to appear, because when I go onto the slide, I just want it to be there. And I want it to appear after the previous. So I just want it to appear when I move from here just to the next slide. All right, so I have that on there, and it's going to appear. So I think that looks good. Now I'm going to click here, and I'm going to add the animation again. And so now, this one, you can't tell that anything's there because it's a white box. And then this one, right now it's fade in, and again, I don't want it to fade in. I just want it to appear. And sometimes, so on click, that would mean it wouldn't appear until I clicked on the screen. But for this one, I want it to appear with the previous because, and I don't want this one to be after, yes. So I want it to be with the previous because I want that white box and this calendar to appear at the same time. So let's see if I got it right. And so you can play it And that seems good. So it just appeared. So let's say we're going to stop for a second. We're going to play again. And it's just going to basically come right on top, which is exactly what I want. So now I'm going to hit stop. And so now let's practice. We're going to do the present. So where it says edit here, I am going to change that. And I'm just going to type preview, and it needs to be all in lowercase or it won't work. And so now my slide appears, and so this is how I would want it if I was doing my presentation. So I'd say, okay, we can animate our slides. Well, this one wouldn't be slide animations. This would be talking about Google Calendar. And so I'd say, you need to go down to the settings, and you need to go to event notifications. And then there's other notifications at the bottom, and you're going to select the daily agenda. And then I just hit the next button, and now this is what appears. It all appeared together, exactly what I wanted. So I would say then I would move over to my Gmail, and I would look, and I would see this would be the agenda first thing in the morning. And so this was for Tuesday, and it shows everything that's going to happen that day. So it sends it to me at 5 in the morning. So the first thing that I get to see is what's happening in my day. So I am well prepared, and I know exactly what's going to happen, and it is a super useful tool. So I hope that you also find the animations to be a useful tool, and that you will use them in your slides, and you play around with the different options. But it makes it really easy when you're making a Google slide, especially if you were going to show emphasis on items by having them appear one at a time or together.